no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Welcome to Kansas.
Here in Manhattan, Kansas, it's homecoming week at Kansas State. Just a few days before Halloween, the Wildcats are trying to convince the nation they're not masquerading as Big 12 and national title contenders. Today, Bill Snyder Family Stadium welcomes the return of former K-State assistant Bob Stoops. His Oklahoma Sooners are trying to bounce back from a shocking loss last week to Texas Tech that might have ruined their national title hopes. Landry Jones and the Sooners still control their own destiny in the Big 12 race. Travis Lewis wants to make sure there's no hangover from a week ago.
First match, Minnesota, they got to play us. They got to play Oklahoma. Remember who you are, baby. Let's go. 12. 1, 2, 3, 12.
Welcome everybody to ESPN's College Football presented by Cars.com. The atmosphere inside Bill Snyder Football Stadium is electric as the 8th-ranked Kansas State Wildcats play host to one of the biggest games in the history of this stadium as they take on number 9 Oklahoma. Hello everybody and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough along with Matt Millen. We'll be joined in a moment by Heather Cox. Delighted to have you with us as we get a look at one of the great stories of this college football season. The K-State Wildcats picked to finish 8th in the Big 12 in the preseason conference poll. Here they are, number 8 in the country. Not many believers for the 5th time, Matt, in the last 6 games. They're going to be the underdog today by 2 touchdowns against this talented Oklahoma team.
But you know, Sean, you know who are the believers? Their team. Bill Snyder, the head coach, has done a remarkable job in putting this right there. It's a perfect shot. It's about family. It's about togetherness. And it's about doing all the things that make a team a team. And when you talk about those qualities, it's embodied by one player. Really, Colin Klein, their quarterback. Colin Klein is a guy not blessed with tons of talent, but what he has, he makes everything work. Great decision maker, great character. He makes it work in the run game and in the pass game. He is the catalyst for this team, and when he's on, they're really pretty good.
And they don't really care if the nation believes or not, but they will win over a lot of doubters with a victory today, certainly against an Oklahoma team that a week ago was thinking about a clear path to the national championship game. Those hopes might have been dashed. There's still a possibility, but now it's a long shot. But they do have an inside track to the Big 12 championship. If they win out, they control their destiny. And they, unlike Kansas State, have a lot of household names.
Yeah, they really do. And they have guys who need to play big in big games. And guess what? Today's one of those big games. And the whole thing, again, starts with this offense. This is an offense-driven team. And this offense is driven by their quarterback, Landry Jones. Landry Jones did not play well a week ago. For 50 minutes, he was kind of dormant, and then they caught fire. He needs to catch fire early. And when he's on, Sean, the guy he goes to, Ryan Boyles. Ryan Boyles is a slot receiver, but a big-time playmaker. They need him early. Defensively, they also need Travis Lewis. You saw him at the top of the show talking about it. He's got to back up those words and get that defense playing well.
Is Kansas State for real? We'll know a lot more at the end of this one. Oklahoma and K-State, the kickoff from Manhattan after this.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Aviva. We are building insurance around you. American Airlines. Traveled over 250 cities in 40 countries on American Airlines. And AT&T. Get it faster with 4G. Rethink possible.
Emotions are already running high. Just a moment ago as the two teams came onto the field, they had to be separated by the coaching staffs. Oklahoma criticized for not being ready to play a week ago, demonstrating it is emotionally ready today. Here's Heather Cox.
Sean, today marks the 6th time that Oklahoma's Bob Stoops has faced his former boss and mentor, K-State's Bill Snyder. Bob Stoops spent 7 years in Manhattan and said that the qualities that he learned from Bill Snyder he still uses in his everyday football coaching. Values like determination, attention to detail, and persistence. And that when Stoops went to OU, he wanted to instill a K-State mentality in Norman, so he hired his brother Mike, Brent Venables, and Mark Mangino, all from Snyder's staff. And Sean, Stoops' memories of being here are so vivid. He told me that when Snyder called and offered the job, he was so excited he said yes, jumped in the car, and never even asked what his salary would be. That's trust, guys.
And how different was that Kansas State program back in 1988 and 1989 when Bill Snyder took over? The worst in the history of college football. He's already worked one miracle in Manhattan and working on his second. Back in coaching after 3 years out, and his 3rd year back in, they're 7-0. Kansas State won the toss and deferred, so Anthony Kentelly kicked off with a strong breeze, and it'll be a touchback. Oklahoma will begin from its own 20, led by one of our impact players, brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. Landry Jones, 3rd in the country in passing yards, 370 per game, behind only Case Keenum and Seth Doege. Ryan Broyles is the all-time leading receiver in the history of major college football. And Dominique Whaley, their leading rusher, back in action after missing last week's game against Texas Tech. He was out with flu-like symptoms, which used to just be called the flu. Now it's flu-like symptoms. They're averaging better than 44 points per game. Oklahoma. Handed off to Roy Finch coming around. And he has a first down across the 30-yard line. An 11-yard gain for Finch. Ordinarily a running back. And there's an injured player on the field. It's Dominique Whaley. Mentioned their leading rusher, who missed last week with the flu. Face down on the field turf here after one play from scrimmage. That would be a huge loss for Oklahoma. He's 2nd in the Big 12 in rushing, over 104 yards per game. There he is on the right of your screen. As he goes to block, he gets rolled from behind by Arthur Brown, the middle linebacker for Kansas State.
Always hate to see that. And Dominique Whaley, you can see, was just a walk-on out of Langston University, and he's done everything and more. He's exceeded all expectations as a player and as a person.
Back live at Manhattan, Kansas, where the Oklahoma medical staff placed an air cast on the left leg of Dominique Whaley. Bill Snyder again out there to offer his best wishes to Whaley, who's one of the great individual stories in college football this season. There have been a lot of wonderful articles written about Dominique, including a major piece a couple of weeks ago in Sports Illustrated. It talked about how as recently as a year and a half ago, the spring of 2010, as a walk-on in this Oklahoma program, he was working at a local sub shop, would work for 3 or 4 hours a day and then race over to practice. Not highly recruited out of high school. Went to Langston University, an NAIA school where he was a reserve. Decided he wanted to transfer to big-time football. When he approached the Oklahoma coaches, they were skeptical. I mean, if you're a reserve at Langston University, no disrespect to them, can you really be expected to be much of a player at Oklahoma? But when he told them what he could run in the 40, what he could lift, and some of his other physical attributes, they worked him out. They saw that he wasn't making it up, and he quickly emerged as a factor in their program. You hate to see anybody get hurt like this, Matt, particularly a young man like this who's gone through so much to get to this point, and unfortunately it seems he's had a major injury. So one play from scrimmage, an 11-yard gain by Finch. Now Landry Jones swings it out to Ryan Broyles, and a good tackle in the open field by Nigel Malone, junior corner. And an excellent defender. He has 4 interceptions, tied for the Big 12 lead. Oklahoma will go quickly, as the Sooners usually do. The fake to Finch. He'll likely take over as the featured back, and the pass on target. Kenny Stills out of bounds across midfield to the Kansas State 47, and a first down for Oklahoma after a gain of 21.
They're not wasting any time, and like you mentioned earlier, Sean, they don't. And when they see that you have any kind of hesitation defensively, they really step on the pedal.
Finch did a good job last week stepping in for Whaley. Rushed for 93 yards. That was a career high. They fake it to him. Jones with a lot of time deep down the middle of the field and thrown up for grabs, intended for Stills, but broken up by Nigel Malone.
Not a good throw. Remember a week ago against Texas Tech, he did not start sharply. This time, this ball hangs. This should have been an interception. It hung and was thrown behind. Landry Jones has to come out and start sharp. A week ago, it didn't happen. His first attempt there was no day at the beach.
And they fell behind 31-7 to Texas Tech last Saturday night after an hour-and-a-half rain delay in Norman before the game started. Jones throws short for Finch. He has a first down and a good move to get extra yardage down inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. A gain of 18. Tyson Hartman, Jordan Volker made the tackle. Five receivers now for Jones. 4-man rush. They don't get near him, and another pass on target. This one to the tight end James Hanna, banged down by safety Ty Zimmerman. They're going to mark it right on the 19. Looks like another first down with a 10-yard gain.
Kansas State defensively has been pretty stingy. They're just spreading out the field right now, and with no pressure on Landry Jones, he's just patiently picking his spots.
We're going to measure it. The down markers see a second down in inches.
You know, Sean, as a player, when one of your teammates goes out with an injury like that and you watch him in an air cast and they have to take him off the field on the cart, one of the things you must do is get it out of your mind and focus quickly. You have to be able to focus on who you're playing against and what you're doing right away. And sometimes it's difficult, especially when you have a close relationship with a guy, because it's about people. It's a people game.
And these Sooners in particular know better than anybody how hard Whaley worked to get in position to be a standout player on one of the best teams in the country. It is a first down after the measurement, 1st and 10 from the 19. Jones gets rid of the ball so quickly. He's been sacked only 3 times this year. Only Andrew Luck of Stanford has been sacked less often. He's been taken down twice. Finch hangs on the line of scrimmage, lunges forward for a couple. Tackled by Trey Walker and Ty Zimmerman. It is a Kansas State defense much improved against the run. Last year they were one of the worst in the country. They gave up more than 230 yards per game rushing. This year that number is 94 yards per game on the ground. They've gone from 119th in the country, second to last, to 13th against the run.
Well, you saw right there Arthur Brown in the middle. He's one of the main keys. That kid, he sees things quickly, makes great decisions.
After the fake to Finch, another open receiver. Ryan Broyles inside the 5, lunge for the pylon, and no signal yet. Touchdown, Oklahoma.
Watch the instinct to get into the end zone. Extend the ball and gets inside, hits the pylon. Does not step out of bounds at all, and because he steps inside first, he's in bounds, and now even though he's going out,
out of bounds there.
You have to see where the ball is when he's touching that line. It looks like it may be hitting simultaneously. Not only that, at the same time.
Wow. Penn State is so proud of you right now. Greg Burks is the referee leading this Big 12 crew.
There's
step.
And I think that's the step where he was out of bounds, his left foot, and he's not yet to the pylon.
Right there, so it's short. What a great effort, though, by Broyles.
And Tyson Hartman got enough of him, it seems, to prevent the touchdown. They'll spot it, you would think, near the 1-yard line. David Dumas is the replay official out of the Big 12. Ryan Broyles knows how to get to the end zone. 44 career touchdown receptions, 4th in the history of FBS football, leader among active players. The all-time record is 60 by Jarrett Dillard of Rice. And Broyles would have to have a phenomenal finish to his career to get there.
After further review, the runner stepped out of bounds. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line, 2nd down.
Regardless of where they spot it, it doesn't negate what Ryan Broyles has turned into as a slot receiver. He's the top slot receiver in all of college football. And at the next level, he'll do the same thing because, Sean, he does some things innately very well. And he's just got a feel for not only zone man-to-man, but at the top of his routes is what makes him pretty darn good.
Passed Taylor Stubblefield of Purdue earlier this year to become the all-time leader in catches. At this level of college football, he's got a shot at the all-time receiving yardage mark as well by the end of the season. 1st and goal from the 1. A direct snap to Blake Bell, who came in for Landry Jones. And a touchdown for Oklahoma. Bell, listed on the depth chart as their 3rd-string quarterback, came in to run that play, and he caps an 80-yard 9-play drive.
Well, just one little bit of hesitation, and then this is what Blake Bell sees. All purple. There is the parting of the ocean right there, and he just follows a great job of his offensive line providing that.
A lot of people wondered, would Oklahoma be engaged after the huge disappointment of last Saturday, and clearly the Sooners are. A skirmish on the field before the game, and an impressive opening drive capped by Blake Bell, freshman from Wichita, Kansas. Landry Jones 5 out of 6 on the drive for 67 yards passing. Let's check in with Heather Cox.
Well, Sean, I was able to catch up with the Oklahoma medical staff, who were able to confirm that Dominique Whaley did suffer a lower left leg injury. They did say it's much too early to tell the extent of the injury. They did cart him off to the Kansas State Medical Facility for x-rays. Now, you guys, as you recall, Dominique did miss last week's game because of the flu. Right before kick, I talked to Bob Stoops about the impact he would have returning to the field. Stoops said you can't even measure the impact he has because he just has the ability to make everyone around him better. So certainly this OU staff and team missing Whaley's presence on the field.
You know, Heather, what you just said right there, you cannot measure that, Sean. The ability of a player to make others around him better is one of those things that's hard to quantify, but it is, you only usually see it when it's missing. And when the guy's gone, that's when you struggle.
Patrick O'Hara will kick off to the hottest kickoff return man in the country right now. Tyler Lockett has returned a kickoff for a touchdown each of the last 2 weeks, so they squib it to prevent him from running one back. Looks like that might have been touched by a Kansas State player. They're throwing flags for a kickoff out of bounds.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he did. It looked like he lunged for it and may have touched it. And if that's the case, they'll pick those flags up and mark it right there. Not touched there, but at the end.
On the kicking team. 1st down.
It was Alex Rebeck who was close to it but didn't appear to touch it, so the ball come out to the 40-yard line. And here come the Kansas State Wildcats. An offense that sharply contrasts Oklahoma in terms of style. See a lot of fullbacks and tight ends. A lot of good old-fashioned option football with their leading rusher, the quarterback, Colin Klein, junior from Loveland, Colorado. Holds onto it on the first play, gets a yard. Here's Reese Davis.
Sean, the end of the Arkansas-Vanderbilt game. Vanderbilt had driven from inside their own 10 down to chip shot field goal range, and Casey Spear went wide right, and Arkansas escapes by 3.
Wow, they were behind for a lot of that game. Heartbreaking loss for Vanderbilt. Klein, second among all college football quarterbacks, the FBS level in rushing, behind only Denard Robinson of Michigan. On target to Tyler Lockett for a 5-yard gain to the 46. It'll be 3rd down and 4. Here are the impact players on offense for K-State, brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. John Hubert is their leading running back, averaging 91 yards per game rushing. And Lockett, the freshman, has come on in recent weeks as both a receiver and with those 2 kickoff returns against Texas Tech and Kansas. The only player in the history of the program to run kickoffs back for touchdowns in consecutive games. 3rd down 4. Klein fake the run. He's in trouble and sacked by Tom Ward. Back at the 35-yard line. Here's one of those 3 defensive starters who didn't play last week against Texas Tech because of injury. And he's made an immediate impact here this afternoon.
Well, he should turn around and give Tony Jefferson a good kiss, because Jefferson, number 1, takes the primary receiver away, and he is not there whatsoever. And because of that, Ward gets the sack.
Ryan Dorr to punt for K-State. Junior from Katy, Texas. A good kick. Fielded by Ryan Broyles. Has some running room now. Flag down. The punter, Dorr, slowed him down and helped take him down at the 40-yard line, but there's a flag back at the 33. Broyles is the career active leader in the country in punt return yardage.
Holding, number 2 receiving team. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. 1st down. Timeout.
ESPN's College Football is presented by Cars.com, where confidence comes standard, and in part by Chrysler, imported from Detroit.
Homecoming weekend here at Kansas State in Manhattan. Yesterday afternoon, the homecoming parade rolled through Aggieville, followed by other homecoming festivities last night. Our Liberty Mutual drive recap. First time Oklahoma had the ball, they went 80 yards in 9 plays. Landry Jones missed only 1 of 6 throws. His stand-in Blake Bell scored his first career touchdown with a 1-yard run on just his 4th career carry. Brandon Williams comes in at running back now, listed as 4th string on the depth chart. They hand it off to Trey Franks coming across the formation, similar to the first play from scrimmage on the opening drive. Arthur Brown the stop. Ball be marked at the 28-yard line. It's a gain of 5.
And Arthur Brown's an active player. He runs extremely well. Really has really good instincts inside. But he can go sideline to sideline.
2nd and 5 from the 28. The line to make the 33. Out of the pistol, the handoff to Brandon Williams, and he's taken down behind the line of scrimmage by David Garrett, the cornerback.
Nice read. Nice read, and it's a replace principle. You're going to watch him. As soon as he sees that down block, you're the free hitter. You've got to be able to make the play, and he does, and sets up this 3rd and long, Sean. And this is where Kansas State has to win. 3rd and long.
Loss of 5 on the previous play. Five wide receivers. Short pass. He needs to get to the 33. Might have been a face mask as well. Roy Fitch ripped down, and there are 3, now 4 flags on the field. Emmanuel Lamore didn't mean to, but he did. Just grabbed the face mask and ripped them down.
Personal foul. face mask. 23, defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
As you watch this face mask at the end of this play, look at the design of the play and what Oklahoma is doing. They're spreading everyone out and allowing Finch with the great quickness and underneath stuff to be isolated in space. That they feel is an advantage for them.
11-yard gain, then 15 more for the penalty. 8.5 to go first quarter, 7-0 Oklahoma. And they're back at midfield. Jones throws to another open receiver. And it's Broyles. Had to wait for a low throw. Went out of bounds just inside the 34-yard line. Chased out by Nigel Malone. Was it a catch?
Oh, yes, it was. Got his hands underneath that. Had to wait on that ball. There was some pressure, like you said, Sean. Broyles is able to make the catch.
17-yard gain. The Sooners have come out like a team determined not to be upset for the second week in a row. Jones, plenty of time, and another receiver. First down to Dewan Miller. Senior from New Jersey, just his 9th catch of the year. He's down at the 11-yard line.
Here's one of the qualities that Landry Jones has: decision making. As he sees the pressure and feels it, he's able to see the whole field and pick the right guy. Well done.
Gain of 23. 8 out of 9 today. His completion percentage had been dropping in recent weeks. First 4 games of the year, he was over 71%. The last 3 games, just 59% completion percentage. They bring pressure. Brown, the linebacker, blitzed, and the pass is broken up by Malone. Looked like Brown might have been early across the line of scrimmage with no flags on the play. It'll be 2nd and 10.
That's the second, only the second errant pass, and both times he was a little behind, Sean, on his throws. But a good start, much better than he was a week ago.
They're not good in the red zone. That's surprising with all of their talent. 85th in the country with just 56% touchdowns. Jones with a blitz coming after him, forced to throw quickly, and James Hanna was the intended receiver.
Looks like he was expecting Hanna to be able to make that break a little sooner and get out in the flat. And you know, when you watch this offense, you know, down here, Sean, in this red zone, everything's shrunk, and so it's a smaller field, and what they like to use is space, and they don't have as much space down here. One of the things that complicates their red zone offense.
Finch on the right hip of Landry Jones. 2 receivers to each side, including the tight end Hanna to the left. Jones zings one back of the end zone, caught. Touchdown, Dewan Miller.
Sean, one of the qualities you look for in a receiver is strong hands. And watch him. There's the hands on the ball, and there's the foot inbounds. 1 foot in college football equals 6 points, and that's 6 points.
And clearly in with room to spare, and the official beautifully positioned. An impressive start for Oklahoma. 2 possessions, 2 long scoring drives, and the extra point good by Michael Honeycutt. And this crowd that had the building rocking when the game started has been silenced by 2 quick strikes by Oklahoma. Landry Jones and number 9 Oklahoma leading Kansas State 14-0 just past the midway point of this first quarter. In Manhattan, Kansas, against the undefeated K-State Wildcats, come in 7-0. But Landry Jones has picked apart the Wildcat defense. Bill Snyder, during the commercial break, spent a lot of time over by the bench talking to the defense.
Sean is going to have to start up front because they have not been getting much pressure at all. And he's been able to sit back there, survey the field, and make the good choice. Best way to handle that is to knock him down.
There's Patrick O'Hara to kick off again. Will he give Lockett a shot, or will he roll one down the field again? This one is a sky kick. Out at the 30-yard line. Tremaine Thompson. Out of bounds. Out of bounds, back near the 40-yard line. He was one of the deep men. They were anticipating the short kick, so he was able to catch it on the fly. And O'Hara got just enough of a piece of him to steer him toward the sideline. 32-yard return officially. They marked it at the 39 of Oklahoma. So K-State, in need of a spark, might have received one yet again from the kickoff return group. So Colin Klein, the quarterback, with John Hubert right behind him in the pistol. Klein, the fake, throws one deep in a double coverage and incomplete. Let's get a Sports Center right now. Here's Reese Davis.
And Sean, Sports Center right now is presented by Discover Card. Carl Edwards is going to start on the pole for Sunday's Sprint Cup race in Martinsville, 1 Eastern on ESPN. Qualifying a wash. Edwards, the points leader. That's why he gets to do the backflip and start first. Louisville Athletic Director Tom Juritz says that he won't give a long-term commitment to the Big East because he has to do what's best for his university.
So sad what has happened to the Big East.
Falling apart. Yep, I agree.
Affects so many people. And so many people involved in this realignment nonsense should be ashamed of themselves for what's happening. Klein weaves down to the 37-yard line. Pickup of 2. It'll be 3rd down and 8. He was chopped down by Sam Proctor, backup safety.
You know, Sean, when you watch this Kansas State offense, you have Colin Klein, who makes very good decisions. But the only explosive guy they have is Lockett. And they tried to hit him there earlier. Oklahoma knew that right away. They put a safety on the underneath side and went man on the outside. So they're going to take away the big explosive player and make everybody else beat them.
And they live by methodically marching up and down the field. They can't get too far behind. Klein running for his life. Got a block from Hubert. Give him enough room just to throw it away. And Oklahoma, one of the great pass rush teams in the country. 4 sacks per game, 2nd in the nation.
Oh, and they're not afraid to bring pressure. And here comes Jefferson again, number 1. But because they can afford to bring pressure because they like their matchups outside. They have the speed to be able to run with the Kansas State receivers. And if they just handle one guy and keep a safety to that side to lock it, they like what they're doing.
Everybody thought they were going to punt, but instead it's a 54-yard field goal try for Anthony Cantelli, who would be the longest of his career. He does have a stiff wind at his back. He got plenty of it, and it is good.
Okey smoke, Sean. That would have been good from 60.
His previous long attempt this year had been 49 yards, which is also the longest made field goal of his career by Cantelli before that one. John McDonough, Matt Millen, Heather Cox back in Manhattan, Kansas. Breezy today. Very pleasant day for late October. Here a couple of hours west of Kansas City. Wind gust today in excess of 25 miles per hour. Anthony Cantelli, the junior from Wichita, helped use that wind to kick the longest field goal of his career, 54 yards. Now he kicks off with the wind again. Roy Finch downs it, and here's Reese Davis.
All right, Taco Bell studio update, Sean. Texas A&M and Missouri went into overtime. James Franklin and Marcus Lucas, beautifully thrown ball. That put Mizzou up by 7. And then on defense, Ryan Tannehill on 4th down has it batted down. So now Missouri's 4-4 overall, 2-3 in the Big 12, and 1-0 in the SEC.
Some heartbreaking losses this year for Texas A&M. They're now 3-2 in the Big 12. And they'll be at Oklahoma next week. Third time on offense for the Sooners. They've had 2 long touchdown drives. They start this one with a handoff to Roy Finch. Out to the 25. Here's Heather.
Sean, you mentioned that Bill Snyder came over to the defense during the last time out. While he was able to eavesdrop, and Coach Snyder preached, as only Coach Snyder can, stay together. Don't be that weak link. I never said it was going to be easy. We're not out of this. Play the game like we know how to play. We'll see if they can hold the Sooners on this possession, Sean.
You wonder if they can. They really haven't come close to stopping the Sooners on the first 2 drives. Finch again behind Jones. He's ahead of the 28. It'll be 3rd down and 2. David Garrett made the tackle. He's the second leading tackler on the defense at just 5'8", 175 pounds.
And 3rd down is where they have to win, Sean. As they had him 3rd and long a few times, weren't able to handle it. Now here's 3rd and 2 or 3. They've got to get off the field.
Bell comes in at quarterback again. He came in at the goal line and scored the rushing touchdown, the first score of the game. Flag thrown now by the referee.
12 men in the huddle. They're going to take 5 yards off.
Illegal substitution. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Now Landry Jones isn't used to coming off the field, so when he does, there might be some confusion.
They have big Trey Millard in there.
Yep. And Aaron Rakowski, who might have been the guilty party based on the reaction of the coaches. So Jones back on the field. 3rd down and 7 now. Just a 4-man rush, and again all day to throw for Jones, and he's on target. What a throw to Ryan Broyles for a 1st down. They had men in front of Broyles, behind Broyles, beside Broyles, and there was only one place that throw could be, right there. 27-yard gain. They come up very quickly. Broyles, nice move. Then Zimmerman, who got deep the first time, made the tackle after David Garrett slowed him up.
Sean, they were able to have that throw to Broyles for one reason. He had all kinds of time to throw. You mentioned just a 4-man rush. This offensive line from Oklahoma has given him Landry Jones all kinds of time to throw.
But not many quarterbacks could put it into that tight a window.
I agree. It was over the safety. They had him robbering in the middle, just sitting inside looking for anything.
On the K-State 49, 2nd and 9, 4 minutes to go, 1st quarter. Broyles ducks down inside the 42-yard line. They'll bring up 3rd down and 2. Tyson Hartman credited with the tackle. And here's Bell back in. Big guy, 6'6", 245. Redshirt freshman from Wichita. One of 7 Kansans on the Oklahoma roster back in his home state today. Faked the handoff, then lost the ball and has to go down at the 44-yard line. So they lose a couple. He might have just barely grazed Finch enough to knock it out of the hands of Bell. 4th and 4, and Bob Stoops, after some consideration, sends the punt team on. Tress Way, one of the best punters in the country, averaging 41 this year. His career average is over 44, best in Oklahoma history, punting into that stiff wind. Play clock running out. They just do snap it in time. And Lockett made the fair catch. Line of scrimmage will be the 12. What a job Bill Snyder has done. They were the worst program in the country when he got hired late in 1988. Started in the 89 season. In his first stint, encompassing 17 years, 6 11-win seasons, 136 wins. He retired. Ron Prince came in for 3. They drifted toward mediocrity, so Snyder was coaxed out of retirement at age 69. And he's working his magic again. Called the Miracle in Manhattan the first time. Bob Stoops, reminiscing for the game, talked about
when he was here as an assistant at the beginning of Snyder, you didn't need a ticket. They just let you in if you wanted to come into the stadium. They were averaging about 13,000 fans a home game. Facilities were poor. Interest was low. Bill Snyder said they were talking about dropping down to a lower level of college football, maybe even giving up the program. Very few people wanted the job. Snyder took it over after a long stint with Hayden Fry as an assistant at Iowa. He's done one of the best coaching jobs in the history of college football. Colin Klein after a 2-yard gain. 2nd and 8. Under 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Handed it off to John Hubert, and he goes nowhere. Aaron Colvin up at the line of scrimmage, and Corey Nelson, a linebacker, stopped the play right at the line. 3rd down and 8.
The way he's gotten it done, Sean, has been with good fundamental football and team football. And what he doesn't have, which is what you're seeing right now, he doesn't have team speed. And so for him to try to get an edge against this Oklahoma team, which does have great team speed, is difficult. So they try to run the option and gain a half a man by using the quarterback, but still it's been negated by the speed of the Sooners.
We have -1 yards of offense here in the first quarter. The point set up by the kickoff return. Klein pulls it down and gets away. Looks like he lost a shoe, but he got the first down. And they want a late hit out of bounds on that K-State sideline. The fans do as well. He made it to the 25, 11 yards and a first down.
Again, nowhere to throw. Just good job of coverage, and so he's forced to pull it down. But watch Washington 91 at the end.
That should be a penalty.
Yeah,
he's way out of bounds. How did they not flag that?
Yeah, he didn't even start tackling him until he was out of bounds.
First down of the quarter of this game for K-State. Hubert threw a big haul. Another first down. They went nearly the full quarter without one. Now they have consecutive first downs. That's a 14-yard run by the sophomore from Waco, Texas.
Now we talking about decision making by Colin Klein, and it's as much in the run game as it is in the pass game. Now in the pass game, Sean, it's been stunted because of the coverage down the field, and so he takes his talent there to the run game.
Hubert 8th in the Big 12 in rushing, 40th in the country at 91 yards per game. Here the two of them the entire run game. Flea flicker. Klein throws for Harper. Incomplete. Flags down. Pass interference on Tony Jefferson.
It turns out to be a good play. The great play would have been a catch by Harper.
Pass interference. Number 1, defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
And there's the rub in college football. Of course, it's 15 yards from the line of scrimmage instead of marking it at the spot of the foul inside the 20-yard line.
Well, he just can't quite run away from Jefferson. Part of the reason is he's kind of holding on to his arm. But having said that, the difference between a good play and a great play is completing the play. Harper needed to make that catch.
Could well be the last play of the quarter. 4 seconds to go. K-State at the 47 of Oklahoma. They toss it to Lockett. Good call. Starting to find a little bit of a rhythm now on offense, ignited by that first down run by Colin Klein.
The Lockett rocket. He's got the speed they need.
10 yards and a first down. It brings us to the end of the first quarter here in Manhattan. Welcome back to ESPN's College Football presented by Cars.com. Oklahoma leading Kansas State 14-3 at the end of one quarter as we continue Dr. Pepper's road to the championship. Dominique Whaley back on the Oklahoma sideline, but obviously not going to return today. We'll try to learn more about the extent of his left leg injury. 1st and 10, Kansas State. Movement along the line of scrimmage.
False start. Number 77, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Colton Freeze, the right guard. Another trademark of Bill Snyder football is limit the penalties. Don't do the little things to beat yourself. Discipline, persistence, consistency, among the many principles that Bill Snyder preaches to his team. And they have bought in. 1st and 15. Klein with a design run, squirts through holes. He might go. Touchdown.
Sean, what were those qualities you were just talking about? Because they're embodied in that player. Persistent, consistency, anything to do with the team. And, oh, by the way, he's talented.
Yeah, belief in yourself. I mean, it was 14-0. It was looking bleak. Snyder went over. Preached to believe in each other. Continued the fight. Looked like it might be a blowout. Now it's very much a football game after the 42-yard run by Colin Klein, who is a touchdown-making machine. It's his 15th rushing touchdown of the season. His 11th in the last 4 games, as they go 88 yards in 6 plays. Kansas State has scored 10 unanswered points. They're back within 4 of Oklahoma.
Watch these two have these two. And then here's a key block. Watch Wilson right on Wart, and then Finney right here. And now that allows you to get to the second level. Now the second level is on the runner. And look at this. Watch the power by Klein. Goes right through Jefferson, and then it's off to the races. Well executed up front, and Klein finishes it.
He's a big man. He's 6'5", 226 pounds, and obviously with terrific speed as well. You have to think, Matt, the biggest play of the game right now is that 3rd down and 8 when K-State was on its own 14-yard line. It looked like they might sack Colin Klein. He took off, got their first down of the game. Wound up being the beginnings of their first touchdown drive. High kick into the wind. Caught by one of the up men, and he's tackled immediately. Marshall Musil, the backup fullback, did well to catch that ball that was fluttering in the breeze. College football action continues tonight on ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC. A full slate of top-ranked teams. Number 6, Stanford, and USC should be a good one. We saw that Cardinal team last week. They've won 15 in a row now, the longest winning streak in the country. But USC coming off that wire-to-wire win at Notre Dame. Andrew Luck and Matt Barkley on display tonight, 8 Eastern on ABC.
That is going to be fun. Probably the 2 best, certainly in the same game. Those guys can really wing it.
Landry Jones swings one out for Roy Finch. It's a block from Ryan Broyles. And it looks like he has a first down. Where are they going to mark it? Yep, he'll have the first down with a gain of 11. Tyson Hartman made the stop for K-State. The ball marked at the 43. Jones out of the pistol now. He's the all-time leader in passing yardage at Oklahoma. More than 10,000 career yards. Adding to that total, Broyles gets 9 into K-State territory. They're going to mark it at the 49. A gain of 8. It'll be 2nd and 2. Emmanuel Lamore and Tyson Hartman made the tackle.
And the one thing, Matt, this Oklahoma receiving corps does very well is block. They block for each other.
They came up very quickly that time. Jones throws it away. He was under duress. Broyles has 7 catches already for OU. Here's Heather Cox.
Guys, another update on Oklahoma's Dominique Whaley. He is out, as you mentioned. Already has a hard cast and ice on that left leg. I am being told that it is broken and that he is finished for the season. I was able to talk to Dominique briefly. He said the pain level is okay. It just hasn't kicked in. But about every Oklahoma player on the sideline has been over to wish him well, and we certainly wish wish him a speedy recovery.
Indeed, your heart breaks for that young man. 3rd down and 2. Jones, first down. Finch banged into the tackler, Nigel Malone. Ball be marked at the 43. Sooners on the move again.
Roy Finch reminds me of an old Oklahoma Sooner, Joe Washington, when he's in space. Really difficult to cover.
And they come up to the line quickly, and it's intercepted. Nigel Malone looking for blockers. And down at the 46 of Oklahoma. Fifth interception of the season to lead the Big 12 for the junior Nigel Malone.
Certainly had time to make the throw. It's to the 2 receiver side. Finch comes out underneath, and then Malone just trumps it. He jumps his coverage because it was stared down by Landry Jones. Look at the eyeballs. We're not the only ones who are looking at it. Well done.
22-yard return of the 8th interception of the year thrown by Landry Jones. Colin Klein gets blocks on the corner inside the 30 and finally pushed out of bounds inside the 20. They're going to mark it at the 15. What a turn of events in this game.
And what a great decision. This is the decision making I'm talking about right there in the run game. And Colin Klein runs it flawlessly. You come in and bite, I'm pulling that sucker out, and I'm down the left sideline.
32-yard run. Klein had a 42-yard touchdown scamper on their last possession. Up to 75 yards rushing already. They're in the red zone. Hubert bounces outside, turns the corner, inside the 5 and down at the 2. Devontre Hurst prevented the touchdown.
Sean, look at the Kansas State offensive line. They're starting to grow confidence. You can see it in the huddle. And it's all because of Klein. Klein is the key. We said it at the top of the game, and it will be all the way through. They feed off him.
1st and goal. It was all Oklahoma. They raced to a 14-0 lead. Looked like they might blow Kansas State right out of their own stadium. They're having trouble getting the play in. And a timeout called by K-State. You know they didn't want to have that happen with momentum on their side. They couldn't find the right play. Back in Manhattan, Kansas, Oklahoma leads 14-10. The Sooners were up 14-0. K-State has scored 10 unanswered and looking for more. 1st and goal from the 2. They had trouble getting the play in. It's play calling by committee. They have 2 offensive coordinators, Del Miller on the left there and Dana Demmel on the right. Bill Snyder is also involved. Bill candidly admits sometimes I have a hard time making up my mind. So this is not all that uncommon, as K-State fans know, that they burn a timeout because they have trouble getting the play in. 7-0 for the first time since 1999. It's also the last time they were 8-0. Klein keeps, surges straight ahead. Touchdown.
That's just pure power. Sean, not only from the offensive line, but from Klein. A little bit of patience, a little bit of power. And it's soon to be a 3-point lead. Watch it, just a scrum. Right up front. You saw 50, Nick Pitts. B.J. Finney, 66. And then Klein finishes it with the power.
Cantelli for the extra point. And it is the 3-point lead for the Wildcats. You think back, Matt, they, with a minute to go in the first quarter, had negative yards of offense. They got that 11-yard run for their first down from Klein on the scramble. That was the first of 6 consecutive runs of double digits or more before the 2-yard touchdown by Klein. Here's Reese Davis back in the studio.
All right, Sean, the Big 12 co-leaders, Oklahoma State, taking it to Baylor. Joseph Randall's going to go 62. The potent defense has stopped Baylor on 4th and goal and also intercepted Robert Griffin in the end zone. It's 21-0 Cowboys. Now Washington State's at Autzen Stadium to take on Oregon, the highest-ranked one-loss team in the BCS. The tip on the Darren Thomas pass who's playing. DeMontre Horton picked 6, 76 yards. LaMichael James is playing too, and old Wazoo's hanging in there. It's only 15-10 at halftime.
Reese, thank you very much. And Bill Snyder talks so much about consistency, persistence, and the importance of team football. Saw the kickoff return, give them a little spark, set up the field goal. The interception by Malone set up this touchdown. All three phases work together. Big part of their formula of success. Short kick into the wind by Cantelli. Finch brought it back to the 38-yard line, was tackled by David Garrett. Here's a look at our Big 12 conference update brought to you by Dr. Pepper 10. Reese just mentioned it. Oklahoma State undefeated like K-State. They are the two teams atop the Big 12, the only teams in the conference without a loss, so each in control of its own destiny. But Oklahoma is as well, because they obviously play K-State today, and they have the Bedlam game in early December against Oklahoma State. Remarkable streak for OU. They haven't lost consecutive games in a single season since 2003, longest such streak in the country. Ryan Broyles up the far sideline. Across midfield and out at the K-State 46-yard line. What a first half Broyles is having, his 8th catch of the half.
He seems to have that thing every week, doesn't he? He's just a productive player.
Averages 9.5 catches per game. He's at 9 catches now. The previous play went for 16. That one goes for 4. Chopped down by Emmanuel Lamour.
You watch him, he really knows how to separate, Sean, and he can pluck the ball. What I mean by that, he catches it with his hands away from his body, but he's got a great feel for that slot position. What they do a lot of times is get the ball out to him. That's nothing more than a long handoff. He does it extremely well, and he'll do it at the next level as well.
He's not a very big young man, but he is strong. Jones zips one into coverage, and it is caught by Jazz Reynolds. Looked like there were two K-State defenders poised to pick that off, and somehow it wound up in the hands of Reynolds at the 18-yard line.
That I thought had a chance to be picked off, but Reynolds with a great catch. That is not a good one. That's a great one.
25-yard gain. First catch of the day for Reynolds, who's been coming on in recent weeks. Particularly down the field, the average is 20 yards per catch. From the 18. Oklahoma trying to reclaim the lead. It's Reynolds again. Touchdown. The ball came out after they signaled touchdown from the far side of the field.
The official on the goal line raised his hands. The official in the end zone waited. But there's the catch. And there he is, extending the ball, breaking the plane. Ooh. Has control until the ball hits it. That's a touchdown. Now the ball comes out. Well, now the official on the sideline, Sean, he had his hands up right away. But you mentioned it. That Reynolds, he's really been coming on. They've got another one there who's another big play machine.
Now, he didn't have a catch in their first 2 games, but then he had 23 receptions in the next 5. 2 big ones back to back there. Extra point is blocked. Did not get over the crossbar. Honeycutt, extra point blocked.
That's number 94, Guidry,
who blocked 2 field goals against Texas Tech, which is a big part of their win over Texas Tech. First player ever under Bill Snyder to block 2 field goals in the same game, and now he's blocked a PAT. Oklahoma went 62 yards on 4 pass plays, the last 2 to Jazz Reynolds, including an 18-yard touchdown pass, his 3rd touchdown of the season. And the extra point was blocked by the man on the right of your screen, Raphael Guidry, on a low kick by Michael Honeycutt. Landry Jones and the Sooners back in the lead. He's thrown 2 touchdown passes today.
He's efficient on that last drive. And they're on, Sean. They're kind of like a machine.
The Bill Snyder's team will get it back. Patrick O'Hara kicking off with a win for the first time today. Tyler Lockett back for the kickoff. Brought one back 100 yards at Texas Tech 2 weeks ago against Texas Tech. Back 97 yards at Kansas. The opening kickoff of the second half last week. He's going to try it from about 4 yards deep. And why wouldn't he? Brought it out across the 24-yard line.
Sean, we're going to show you Arthur Brown right there. He's the key for Landry Jones, because what they're going to do is they're going to go play action inside, and now watch the bite. Here comes the bite, and this is where they want to get to with Ryan Broyles. It all comes together. He sees it immediately. Nice delivery, and you're in the end zone. And it's all set up because of this great catch by Reynolds. It's a one-hander, great concentration, and a big play.
3 Oklahoma touchdown drives have all taken less than 3 minutes. John Hubert weaved out to the 27-yard line from Waco, Texas, where he broke all of LaDainian Tomlinson's city high school rushing records. It wasn't highly recruited like so many of these K-State players.
Not a real big guy. You can see only 5'7", 185 pounds. Has very good vision, and that allows him to pick and choose inside. He does it pretty well.
Klein just 1 for 3 passing for 5 yards, but they've started to find their rhythm on the ground. Klein bounced off the pile. Here comes Jefferson, who pulled him down just across the 30-yard line. Here's Reese.
All right, Sean, you told us about Tyler Lockett, and he is indeed a dangerous kickoff return man, and so too is Jeffrey Demps of the Gators. Now, honesty compels me to say that Demps was actually caught from behind earlier in this game by Brandon Boykin. Not here. 99-yard kickoff return. Gators up 14-3 in the second.
Wow.
They can fly.
Demps caught from behind.
He must have been looking back or something. That kid, he and Rainey, they're fun to watch.
Third down and 5 now for the Wildcats, and here's another timeout. Second they've used while on offense here in the first half. Colin Klein was recruited by the previous coaching staff by Ron Prince and his bunch to be a drop back pocket passer. He's turned into a running quarterback, and he's run with great effectiveness all season long, including today.
And he runs through tackles. And Sean, the thing that's so impressive, though, is we talked about it a few times. It's been his decision making, and he has a great feel for that mesh point. And the mesh point, Sean, is that point where he puts the ball into the running back's hand, and then he makes the read. And then if you bite on that, he's pulling it out and he's gone. And he's done it very consistently. You can see second behind Denard Robinson with 670 yards. And today he's added a bunch more.
They are 3 of the best in the country dual threat quarterbacks. There are 6 quarterbacks in the country leading their team in rushing and in passing efficiency. And one of those 6 is Colin Klein. He pulls it down and runs on 3rd and 5 as the first down. Out to the 43-yard line. R.J. Washington made the tackle. It's a 13-yard gain.
Well, they anticipated man coverage, which they got. And Klein saw it right away, and then he just uses that big body. He runs through tackles, through linemen, linebackers, and secondary people alike. He's impressive.
Averaging 9.6 per rush today. He's on the verge of his 4th 100-yard rushing game of the season. There's still 9:16 to go in the first half. Design roll to the right. Short throw. Catch made by Lockett. Out of bounds, Oklahoma 49. A gain of 8. It'll be 2nd and 2 for the Wildcats. Lockett's dad, Kevin, all-time leading receiver here at Kansas State. His Uncle Aaron was also a standout for the Wildcats. 4th all-time here in receiving yardage. The pistol now for K-State. And that time Klein might have made the wrong decision. There's a flag down to the field as Hubert was stopped for no gain by Ronell Lewis.
John, I think you're 100% right. We've been talking about his decision making. That was one of his poor ones.
Illegal formation, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Interesting, they decided to take it even though they stopped the play for no gain. Instead of 3rd and 2, it'll be 2nd and 7.
And watch Klein. He puts the ball into Hubert's hands, and now he's eyeballing this right here. And if he bites, then you should turn it up. Well, he does bite, and he hands it off. And so one of the few times today we've seen him make a poor decision.
Must have been anticipating that defender would be blocked, and he wasn't. Here comes a blitz. Klein throws quickly, and a good catch made for a 1st down. Chris Harper at the 46 of Oklahoma.
That's a heck of a nice throw right there by Klein. Right where it had to be, low and outside. Harper's the only guy who's going to make that catch, and of course it's a 1st down.
8-yard gain, 1st catch of the day for Harper. Their leading receiver for the year. It's just his 27th catch. He's a transfer from Oregon. A lot of junior college transfers and transfers from 4-year colleges. About half the 2-deep are transfers. Klein kept it. He got rocked as he turned the corner. Stacy McGee, Ronell Lewis, Sam Proctor all in there to make sure that Klein paid the price for hanging on to the ball that time. There are the numbers we were talking about on the 2-deep. 17 junior college transfers. And that's been the formula from way back when he first turned the program around.
And that explains a lot why he's so big on responsibility and all the fundamentals, because usually you get the kids out of JUCOs that are not well disciplined.
Trouble again on the connection with Hubert. Klein looked to make the right decision to keep it that time, but it fell out of his hands. They recovered at the 41-yard line. Here comes 3rd down and 5. You know, they've always recruited the junior colleges well. Some people say, well, junior college kids, there's a reason why they're in junior college. Bill Snyder said, hey, you can find good kids in high school.
Sure.
You can find bad kids in high school. You can find the good kids in both places. Play clock running out, and here they go again.
So that's one of those things. You talked about it earlier. You said they had the 2 play callers upstairs, and then it goes through Bill Snyder. Some have said they're play suggesters. He makes the decision.
And I think that's true. Time to take a look at today's Aflac Trivia question. Bill Snyder, one of 3 FBS head coaches who've coached in a stadium with his name on it. We want to know who are the other 2. It's over the history of college football.
Holy smokes.
It's a hard question.
We were crushing them the last few weeks, Sean. I think they just had to dig deep on this.
They wanted to make it a little harder. Yeah. 3rd down and 6 now for Bill Snyder's team at the Oklahoma 41-yard line. What a run by Hubert. Finally down near the 15-yard line. And there's been some shaky tackling by the Oklahoma defense here in the 1st half.
Yeah, a lack of tackling, Sean. They've been getting blocked, and theirs run right through another. Jefferson runs through. They're not wrapping their arms. Javon Harris, number 30, they just, hey, let me tell you something, all you high school players out there, it doesn't matter if you hit them, it matters if you tackle them. The objective is to get them to the ground, not to just hit them.
Yes. Stoops and Brent Venables be livid. That's dreadful tackling. Here's Hubert again. He actually never was tackled. He slipped down at the 15 on the previous play trying to make a cut. He gets to the 11 there. 4-yard gain. There's Brent Venables. His defense gave up 572 yards of offense in the loss to Texas Tech last week. The homecoming for Brent. He played here at K-State. Was a fine linebacker. Honorable mention all Big 8. Part of that coaching staff here with Bob Stoops under Bill Snyder, both former K-State assistants. 170 yards rushing now for K-State. And they had negative yardage for the game with a minute to go in the first quarter. What a turnaround. Flying. Pulled down. Good tackle that time by Tony Jefferson. Here comes another big third down.
What's happened here is they've been able to get into the second level, and that's past the defensive line, into the linebackers and the safeties, and they've just not tackled well. And Sean, credit Colin Klein and also Hubert 33 because they have not gone down easy. They're making you have to tackle.
3rd down and 3. They have to get the play off this time because they don't have a timeout. And the crowd anxious again. They've seen this movie before. Klein throws corner of the end zone. Caught but out of bounds. Harper fielded it out of the back of the end zone. Actually did not hang on. Had it for a moment then lost it. Boy, for a team that talks about doing all the little things right, exactly. This is not good. There are problems with getting plays in and getting them snapped. And that's a part of being disciplined.
That's a huge part of it, Sean.
Yep. And it really falls on the coaching staff to
really
practice
does.
what it preaches.
You know, we talk about Bill Snyder and all that, but then when we drive up and see him where he parked, he crossed the line. He did it again here.
Field goal attempt to tie, and it is no good. What a disastrous ending to the drive. Anthony Cantelli hooks one wide left from 25 yards. After he made one with the wind from 54. This one into the wind, but that shouldn't have been a factor on a 25-yard kick. They had the ball for 6 minutes and 53 seconds and come away with no points. Snyder and the coaches will reflect again on their part in that on the previous play. They were eyeing a touchdown in the lead. Had to settle for the tying field goal attempt. They went wide, buffeted a bit by the wind. Roy Finch out to the 23, a gain of 3. Plenty of time for this Oklahoma offense to add to the lead. All 3 of their scoring drives have taken under 3 minutes. 4:10 to go in the half. They have all 3 timeouts. Landry Jones throws, caught. Kenny Stills got away from Malone. Finally ridden out of bounds by Tyson Hartman. It looked like he was trying to punch the ball out. There is a flag now in the secondary.
Tyson Hartman.
Second catch of the day for Stills.
Malone is probably their best corner, and he's got to make those tackles. It's the same thing that we saw out of Oklahoma. You've got to wrap your arms.
A 10-yard gain, and then what?
Illegal block in the back. Number 33 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. 2nd down.
Trey Miller, the fullback. So it sets up 2nd and 7. The clock is running. Oklahoma at its own 23. 3.5 to go in the half. Again, plenty of time for Jones. Catch made by Broyles. He swung back, but he had enough for the first down to the 31-yard line. 10 catches now for Broyles. for 105 yards.
And very good field awareness, knowing where the sticks are to get that first.
Pass batted down by Lutui in the middle of that defensive line. Batted it down.
And good thing Lutui gets his hand up, because Hannah's all alone in the middle of that defense. And he was gonna pick up some yardage.
2nd and 10. Pistol with Finch behind Jones. Just tuned in Dominique Whaley. Suffered a left leg injury on the first play from scrimmage. Out for the year, we believe. Finch fighting for extra yardage. Stayed in bounds. Came up well short of the first down. And with 3 minutes to go in the half, a 3rd down upcoming for Oklahoma. From its own 38, 3rd and 3.
Kansas State has not, in third short situations, gone to tight man coverage. They have played zones and been very patient all the way through, and it looks like we're going to get the same thing here again.
4 out of 5 on 3rd down today for Oklahoma. Bill Snyder said, I don't know how you get close to Landry Jones. He's so well protected and gets the ball out so quickly. They haven't really pressured him much. Meshach Williams forced him out of the pocket. James Hanna the catch at midfield. Lunges forward for a 1st down to the 48-yard line of K-State. Ty Zimmerman pulled him down.
Remember when the ball was knocked down just a few plays previous? They came back to the same thing. See the middle of the field wide open.
14-yard gain. Jones pressured from behind, but got it off, and it's intercepted again by Malone. The receiver Stills went down. No flags on the field. 2nd pick of the day by Malone.
He tried to go up. Malone had coverage. Still sitting there in his zone. Don't get beat deep. He runs with him. The ball's actually underthrown, Sean. Not a good throw. And Malone comes down with it. 2nd pick of the day.
Very windy conditions with gusts up near 30 miles per hour. Seeing the impact it's had on the kicking game, and now perhaps the throwing game. Jones might have been anticipating more help from the wind than he got.
Yeah.
Nigel Malone, 1st year at K-State, one of those JC transfers. He's from City College of San Francisco. Hubert. After a grinded out offense, and they've been moving well the last few possessions, Matt, but again, because they burned all those timeouts and they couldn't get plays in or snapped, they don't have any timeouts to work with, and they need them. They're going to go the length of the field.
Yeah, and they need to quicken their pace here also. The $1:40 to go. You've got to go faster than this.
Unless you're just content to take it to the house. Down by 3. Lockett the catch, then a fumble, and they did not recover it in bounds. Jefferson knocked it out. Frank Alexander went sprawling on the turf to try to recover it. They'll mark it back where he lost the ball at the 36, but it's good for a 1st down on an 11-yard gain.
Yeah, Jefferson gets his hand right on the ball. And Sean, you said it right. Because there was no control, it goes back to the point where Lockett fumbled it.
Alexander had a shot at it in bounds, but did not possess it. 3 catches for Lockett. The clock is running. 1:10 to go. Lockett taken down. Nicely played by Aaron Colvin. Here's Reese Davis.
All right, Sean, coming up on the Bud Light halftime report, the Big 12 co-leaders, Oklahoma State having no trouble tackling Robert Griffin, at least so far. Joe Paterno tries to pass Eddie Robinson on the all-time list, and some agony again for the Aggies. Mark and Lou join me. We'll see you in just a few seconds.
All right, Reese, yes, the seconds ticking off rapidly now. It appears as though K-State will be content to head to the locker room down by 3. 2nd and 12 here. They have to go a long way to get into field goal range, heading right into this stiff wind. Hubert fumbled the football. And it's recovered by Oklahoma. Ronell Lewis has it at the 36-yard line. All they were trying to do was run out the clock, it appeared, and they turn it over.
they've had trouble with the mesh point. That time they get it fine. It's hit. Hubert gets the ball hit, does not protect it. Rennell Lewis comes up with it.
Well, they dodged one bullet when the fumble went out of bounds. Not this time. It'll be a long field goal from here, but with this breeze, it might be doable for Honeycutt. His long is 44, but that's the only field goal they've tried this year longer than 40 yards. Landry Jones wants more than 3. Looked like Broyles had a hard time picking up the ball. Covered by Alan Chapman. Let's answer today's Aflac trivia question. You want to take any guesses?
Well, the only one I could think it would be Bear Bryant.
At Bryant-Denny Stadium. Right. You are correct.
That's
Ralph Shug Jordan at Jordan-Hare Stadium. I thought Bobby Dodd Stadium, but apparently they named it after Bobby Dodd after he coached. That's the Aflac trivia question for today. 14 seconds to go here at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. First half. A good one between two of the top 10 teams in the country. Pass incomplete, looking for Broyles. Again, Alan Chapman, the junior from San Francisco, in coverage. Third and 10.
Chapman had himself a pretty good jam right there on Broyles, which they haven't done enough of. I would get a jam on these receivers all the time because you're not getting any pressure, Sean, in here whatsoever on Landry Jones. He has had all kinds of time to throw.
Taking a lot of time to make sure they get the right play. 4 receivers, 2 to each side. Finch to the left of Jones. 10 seconds to go in the half. Jones down deep and almost intercepted again off the hands of Ty Zimmerman. Now you wonder if they'll try the field goal. Yes, they will, with this sturdy breeze at their backs.
Nice throwing lane, just step and throw. He missed Hannah. Now you're right, it had a chance to be picked, but Hannah was wide open. Not a good throw.
There's Michael Honeycutt. He took over as the kicker when Jimmy Stevens went out with a muscle strain early in the year. Strong breeze at his back. This would be a career-long 52-yarder for the freshman from Richardson, Texas. Mentioned the only field goal they've tried all year over 40 yards by either Stevens or Honeycutt was a 44-yarder made earlier this year by Honeycutt. Of course, Honeycutt part of the loss last week. He had a rough week. He missed 2 short field goals. Went 1 for 3 in the 3-point loss against Texas Tech. First one would have given them the lead in the second quarter. Second 28-yarder off the upright that would have got them within 41-34 within a touchdown. With under 3 minutes to go, Tommy Tuberville knew what a big miss that was, and a big part of the Red Raiders' upset win in Norman, ending Oklahoma's 39-game home winning streak. The same breeze that helped Cantelli kick a 54-yarder in this direction earlier in the game is at the back of Honeycutt, and that one is good. Just did wobble over the crossbar. Officially a 53-yarder to end the half. And without the wind, there's no way this makes it, because it barely made it and he didn't get all of it. An entertaining first half with momentum shifts, and here's Heather.
Coach Snyder, what adjustments did you make to have more success in the running game in the second quarter?
Well, I think we're just we're executing things that we do a little bit better. That's what it's all about, is, you know, whether we can block and tackle on defense and things like that, but just execution, doing things the way you're supposed to do them.
When you were down 14-0 early, what did you tell your team to get them to respond?
Well, what we've said all year, you know, you just keep playing. I mean, that's what the game's all about. Just a 60-minute ball game, and you got to play every snap, and just keep playing is what we say. Keep rowing the boat.
Coach Snyder, thank you. Row that boat, boys.
Well, both teams true to form. K-State rushed for 176 in the half, and Landry Jones threw for 290 in the half for Oklahoma. 23-17 Oklahoma. Here's Reese, Mark, and Lou in the studio. The Bud Light halftime report. welcome back to ESPN's College Football presented by Cars.com from Bill Snyder Family Stadium in Manhattan, Kansas. A top 10 battle. Number 9 Oklahoma leading Kansas State 23-17 as we get ready for the start of the second half. Sean McDonough along with Matt Millen. Very entertaining first half. Oklahoma ran out to a 14-0 lead. Looked like it might be a blowout. K-State in their typical stick with the program fashion, Matt, came back into it. But there's a fine line for them because of the talent differential and a couple of little mistakes at the end of the half. Couldn't get plays called, missed a short field goal, turned it over, and they were just trying to run out the clock. That can be the difference.
Atypical play calling. Atypical for a Kansas State team that's coached by Bill Snyder. He pays attention to details. Really, the details hurt them there. What hurt Oklahoma in the first half, John, was basic fundamentals. And it happened in the kicking game, and in the tackling game, rather. They did not tackle well at all. Now, credit Colin Klein and Hubert. They did a nice job of running through tackles. But if they're going to do any better in the second half, that Oklahoma defense better start tackling.
Patrick O'Hare is going to have to tee it up again. He'll be kicking off with that wind that is still howling. Sustained winds up around 30 miles an hour now. On an otherwise warm and pleasant day with the temperature near 70 degrees. And the second half is underway. Middle of the end zone with the wind, and Tyler Lockett decided to take a knee. Let's look at today's game track, brought to you by Bud Light. 290 yards in the half and a couple of touchdowns for Landry Jones, but he did throw 2 picks. Ryan Broyles already 10 catches. His single game career best is 15. And Colin Klein at 104 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns, giving him 16 rushing touchdowns in 8 games this year. It's his 4th 100-yard rushing game of the season. So the Wildcats have it first. Heading into the wind here in the third quarter. Here's Lockett. Out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Gain of 7. Here's Heather Cox.
Sean, after containing Kansas State in the first quarter, Oklahoma allowed nearly 200 yards rushing in the second quarter. So I asked Bob Stoops what changed. He said it was 2 things. One thing, we lost assignments on some of those big runs in the second quarter that we didn't lose in the first quarter. And then, Matt, like you said, tackling a huge issue. He said for some reason, fundamentally, we tackled well in the first quarter. We lost those fundamentals in the second quarter. Certainly something addressed at halftime, guys.
Klein decided to keep it that time and got tackled by Ronell Lewis. No gain on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
You know, this offense is based on gaining an extra man, Sean. And the way you achieve that offensively is by letting a defender free and making him have to account for the quarterback. And that's how you gain your extra man in numbers in the run game. And when you're Ronell Lewis and they're working off you, you've got to make a play. And that last play he did.
Flag thrown out near the 40-yard line by an official in front of the Oklahoma sideline.
Substitution infraction, defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Wow. Costly mistake. Both Venables and Bob Stoops, former Bill Snyder assistants at K-State, agitated that happened to give the Wildcats the first down.
Well, it goes back to the old rule. Don't beat yourself.
Of course, these coaches very familiar with Bill Snyder and his approach. It hasn't changed much over the years. Brent Venables said it's going to be about numbers on offense. They're going to get up there and count and decide based on the way the defense is lined up which direction they're going to run it, or if they should run or throw. John Hubert, a 1-yard gain, tackled by Ronell Lewis.
Yeah, second time that Ronell Lewis has played it right. You know, again, he's the free guy. He plays it perfectly, feathers it out with Colin Klein, and then turn and get down the line of scrimmage and makes the tackle. That's well played by Ronell Lewis.
Braden Wilson, the fullback, went in motion. Klein throwing into the wind as his receiver. Chris Harper short of the first down. Out at the 38-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 4 for Kansas State.
This is a tough offense for Kansas State because they don't really push the ball down the field. Outside of Lockett, they don't really have a speed guy. And so their whole thing is predicated off the run game and then play action off that and a lot of intermediate throws.
3 wide receivers come out to the right here. They're a good 3rd down team, and they're right on their percentage for the year with the 3 out of 6 today. Sooners show blitz and bring it. And Klein is taken down behind the line of scrimmage by Frank Alexander. Crowd thought there was a little extra polish after the play, and Klein is still getting up.
Well, they did bring a blitz from the offensive right side. Alexander took a hard inside move.
And he did step on Klein. They just saw the same replay we saw on the screen here. Alexander gesturing as soon as he did it that it was unintentional, and apparently the officials agreed. So Ryan Dorr on a punt into this wind, and the wind just bats it down. Fair catch made by Ryan Broyles. Crowd still doesn't like it. And they're still looking at Klein. You think that should have been flagged?
No, I don't think that was intentional whatsoever. I think he made the play, got up, and it happened. But Klein looks like he's in a little more than just a regular wear and tear there.
After the 29-yard punt into the wind, here's Landry Jones handing it off to Roy Finch. In trouble and dropped for a loss. Ray Kibble leading the defensive front. There's a look at the tackle. You wonder if he was injured before he got stepped on. You know, I understand what you're saying. It wasn't intentional, but you're still responsible for what you do. When you can't step on a guy's chest and take a step.
Well, he pulled off it pretty. He pulled off it pretty quick. I don't think there's much to that.
I think again we're not surprised, being a great defensive player as you were. Jones on 2nd and 11 into K-State territory to Kenny Stills for a first down at the 48-yard line. They'll get Landry Jones over 300 yards for the 20th time in his career, adding to his own Oklahoma record. On the design roll, throws it up for grabs. Broken up by Ty Zimmerman, the sophomore from Junction City, Kansas, right up the street. Intended for Broyles.
Waited a little too long on that, Landry Jones, because that allowed Zimmerman to be able to get over there. He's open now. Because he took just a few more steps before he made that throw, Zimmerman was able to make a play on it. Could have been picked.
Zimmerman was a freshman All-American safety last season. 3 receivers to the right of Landry Jones. Inside handoff to Finch. Inside the 35, and finally banged down by Arthur Brown with help from Nigel Malone. Terrific run by Finch. They're going to mark him down to the 29-yard line. 19 yards and a first down for Oklahoma.
Now, I mentioned little Joe Washington, who was just a terrific player at OU and an All-American, and then in the National Football League for a long time. But these guys have the same kind of build, but in space. That's where they were really special, and Finch has the same thing.
They fake it to Finch. Broyles is wide open inside the 15, still in bounds. Touchdown. Well, some of that poor tackling from Oklahoma might have infected the Kansas State defense on these last couple of plays. That's a whiff.
That's nice tight walking down that sideline by Broyles. But I'm with you on the whiff. You got to get him out of bounds.
First touchdown of the day for Broyles. 45th of his career. Receiving. 29-yard touchdown. Honeycutt's extra point good. He had one blocked in the first half. They led by 14 early. Then K-State rallied. Now it's a 13-point lead again for Landry Jones and the Sooners.
This game is streaming live on your computer, tablet, or smartphone via WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app.
Sean McDonough, Matt Millen, Heather Cox. Back in Manhattan, Kansas, a touchdown by Ryan Broyles extends the Oklahoma lead to 13 points. Oklahoma beginning the second half the way it began the first, with a quick strike on their first possession. Just a minute and 16 seconds for Landry Jones to take the Sooners 63 yards in 5 plays. Jones is up to 335 yards passing. It could be a career day before it's said and done. His all-time best is 468 against Oklahoma State last year.
You know, Sean, they're playing basically zone the whole time against them, and if you're playing zones, you got to have a rush. They've not had pressure on him all day.
Patrick O'Hara kicks off with the win. This one's returnable for Tyler Lockett, about a yard deep in the end zone. And he stopped shy of the 15-yard line. And again, the crowd doesn't like what happens after the play. And there's a Wildcat down on the field. Dowling is the injured player. Backup defensive lineman Leighton Dowling.
Dowling right there, and he gets leg whipped on the backside.
Ronald Lewis made the tackle. It's Kellen Jones. I didn't see much there. Did you?
Much, no.
Well, Dowling's been helped up, walking off with some help. I think the fans had a reasonable gripe in the last offensive series when Alexander stepped on the chest of Klein. Whether he meant to do it or not, it injured Klein. He was receiving medical attention the entire time the defense was on the field. We'll get more on that from Heather in a moment. 1st and 10, K-State. Down by 13. They trailed 14-0. Rallied to take a 17-14 lead in the first half. Another poor tackle by David King, allowing Hubert to get out near the 20. Here's Heather.
Sean, as you mentioned, Colin Klein spent that entire series with the medical team. A trainer actually ran to the locker room to get a special medicine. It was like a numbing balm that they actually rubbed on the chest area under his pads where he was stepped on in that last series. Now, guys, remember, this is a quarterback that's known and respected for his toughness. In fact, his teammates started calling him our version of the honey badger because he's always bleeding and cut up. So never takes a play off, and back out on the field right now.
Everybody has a honey badger now, it seems. 2nd and 4. Klein kept the ball, surveyed the D. Runs well for a guy with a sore chest. Out to the 29. That was particularly true down in Miami, that great game that really started this run of success. The end of that game, playing on that hard field, the baseball stadium north of Miami, he was covered in dirt and blood, and Klein admits that pretty much every week now by the end of the game he's bleeding, sometimes profusely. There's those bandages on each elbow, trying to tie his shoe. 1st and 10. Play clock running down. 5 seconds. Sooners showing blitz. They bring it. Klein's in trouble and sacked. Corey Nelson, and the blitzing Sam Proctor was enough of a factor from the start of that play to contribute to the sack back at the 21-yard line.
You're going to see Nelson coming on one side and then Proctor on the outside, but because of the coverage down the field and they're able to go man-to-man and run with these receivers, Klein has nowhere to go, has to pull it down, and sets up this second down and long.
Klein has completed 5 passes. He's 5 for 8. Landry Jones has completed 25 passes. Now to 36. Second and 17. Klein took off running, got a couple, pulled down from behind again by Corey Nelson. Casey Walker in on the play for the Sooners. It'll be 3rd down and long, and K-State isn't built for that. Few teams are.
Yeah, you know, Sean, actually, I'm a little surprised that Oklahoma has not played blitzed a little bit more and put more pressure on them, get more people at the line of scrimmage, because they have the advantage in coverage versus these receivers. These receivers aren't going to run away from them at all, except for Lockett's the one guy who could do it.
Nearly midway through the 3rd quarter now. 3rd and 15. Seen very few pass attempts down the field from K-State. Design roll to his left. Klein is going to run. And now they're mad again. Nelson was actually trying to hold him around the waist. There is a flag on the play. And if anything, Nelson was trying to prevent Klein from crashing into the bench. There is a flag now. Craig Burks is the referee.
There is no foul on the play.
You watch Klein as he goes out of bounds.
Well, again, the contact doesn't start till he's a yard or two across. I mean, he did try to prevent him from falling, but he, based on where Klein is there, you shouldn't be initiating contact when he's almost all the way across that white part. I know what you're going to say. He's a defensive player. He can knock it into the front row if he wants. I mean, he did try to prevent him from falling down, but the contact began awfully late. Here's another punt into the wind. Pretty good one, given the stiff breeze. And the fair catch made by Ryan Broyles. And marked it at the 32-yard line. 42-yard punt into that strong wind.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Chevrolet and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers. And new Dr. Pepper 10. 10 calories, 23 flavors. It's not for women.
Well, it's Halloween in Kansas. The Wizard of Oz costumes are almost mandatory. We've seen a bunch of those today. It was fun yesterday. The homecoming parade through downtown Manhattan. There were also a lot of the young kids out in their Halloween outfits. Jones throws, caught. Lawan Miller trying to gain ground after the catch, and he's tackled by Ty Zimmerman at the 40-yard line. 8 yards on first down for Oklahoma, trying to build on a 13-point lead more than midway through the 3rd quarter. 3 catches for Miller, who missed a lot of last year with a knee injury. Landry Jones might be on his way to his school record 8th game of 400 yards or more. Brennan Clay is committed running back. Short pass, first down to the 49-yard line of K-State. Goes Ryan Broyles. Meshach Williams made the tackle. An 11-yard run. Joined us late. Dominique Whaley injured on the first play of the game. Has a cast on his lower left leg. Heather Cox reports all indications are he's lost for the year. Oklahoma's leading rusher. And they've run the ball very little without him today. They've only attempted 11 runs. Here's the 12 from Brennan Clay. Gain of 3 to the 46-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 7. Clay's a sophomore from San Diego.
Sean, we've had an opportunity to watch some of the most prolific passing offenses in the NCAA, and certainly right here with Landry Jones, when they're on, they are really, really good. We watched Brandon Whedon at Oklahoma State. Same thing with them. That game at the end of the season is going to be a humdinger with the ball in the air.
Which passing attack impresses you more?
I think we've had an opportunity to watch them all. I think
shovel pass to Finch. Chased out of bounds by Trey Walker. I mean, it's hard to pick. They both have one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and they both have one of the best receivers, Blackman and Finch. Blackman and Broyles, rather.
And they also do a great job with pace. So you have to defend pace whenever you're playing those offenses.
And you're not going to pick one.
No,
you remain neutral.
I'm going to be Sweden right now.
That's right. We may see these two teams again down the road. I believe it's Switzerland.
Switzerland, Sweden, same thing.
3rd down and 4. 4-man rush. Jones has his man. 1st down. James Hanna, the tight end, still running. Down to the 6-yard line. 37 yards on the completion of the senior tight end.
And it looks like he just did have man coverage there that time against Trey Walker, and he beat him. Middle of the field was wide open, and man, big 1st down.
Boys to take their biggest lead of the game. And Jones throws, touchdown. One-handed catch by Jazz Reynolds.
That's the 2nd impressive catch of the day for Reynolds. One on the sideline earlier, and then this one, it's just like it's his job. He just pulls it out of the air like it's no big deal. Watch him to the inside. I mean, it's impressive.
It was as if he never even thought about using the left hand, even to help secure it. 2nd touchdown catch of the day for Jazz Reynolds. And Oklahoma has silenced the sellout crowd in Manhattan, Kansas. Michael Honeycutt for the extra point. And the lead is 20, the largest of the day. Jazz Reynolds, sophomore from Houston, came in at about 165 pounds. He's up to 198 and has always had the great hands. After finishing a disappointing 26th last week in Talladega, Jimmy Johnson now trails Chase leader Carl Edwards by 50 points. Just 4 races left. Can Edwards hold on to win his first title, or can JJ mount a last gasp comeback? He's not even in the top 5 right now. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues at Martinsville tomorrow at 1 Eastern on ESPN. Jimmy Johnson's in 7th place. He stopped by the ESPN studios in Bristol this week. I saw him talking about, he knows the chances are slim, but great competitor that he is, he's going to fight all the way to the end, try to finish as high in those point standings as he can. Touchdown by Jazz Reynolds has made it a 20-point game. Good kick by Patrick O'Hara, and Lockett takes a knee. And here's a guy who always tries hard, no matter the circumstances, Reese Davis.
Always bringing it, Sean, trying to give 110%. An innovative look at the Stanford offense brought to you by AT&T. Here's Stanford against UCLA, and you see the patterns that Andrew Luck's receivers are running. We're circling Kobe Fleener, the tight end, one of the 3 tight ends, or 3 primary tight ends used by Luck. Now he's getting heavy pressure. He's going to throw with some trust and put it in the one place Fleener can catch it. You're going to have to deal with that as USC tonight when Stanford takes on the Trojans.
How about Reese doing it all? Telestration, analysis, studio hosting, tremendous play-by-play man. Klein is buried back at the 10-yard line. They have caught on to the running game now of Colin Klein. His previous 9 rushes had netted a total of 11 yards, and now this one goes for a big loss.
Yeah, and this is Rennell Lewis, and again, it's because Klein's looking downfield. He's going to throw this ball, but there's no place to throw whatsoever. It's just outstanding coverage, which allows Rennell Lewis for another big play.
And we credited him with a sack. It was hard to figure whether or not he was trying to pass, but that's the determination. Back to the 10-yard line, 2nd and 20. They are not a throwing team. He throws short to the tight end. Travis Tannehill is taken down by Travis Lewis immediately. K-State is 110th in the country in pass offense and last in the Big 12 at 141 yards per game.
And this is exactly where the Sooners wanted to get this Kansas State offense. They needed points at their back to make them have to throw. And that's where they have a distinct advantage, not only in rushing the passer, but in coverage. Even if they get spread out, they're going to play zones right here, but they've still been able to generate a pass rush.
3rd and 20. 3 minutes to go, third quarter. Problems.
False start. 75 offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Claude Offner, the veteran right tackle, one of the team captains, senior from Raymore, Missouri. I mean, with the timeouts and the time left, and as quickly as they can move the ball down the field as we've seen running the ball, they have time to do all that. But when you lose big on first down, you put yourself into this pass mode that Bill Snyder and his team are not comfortable with this year. 3rd and 25. They've backed up almost into their own end zone. Klein keeps. It's a good run, but nowhere near first down yardage. Chased out by DeMontre Hurst. He'll mark it at the 18-yard line, 13-yard gain, but another punt. Give Brent Venables and that defensive staff credit. Clearly they made some adjustments to help their team fare better against the run in the second half. 3rd punt of the quarter for Ryan Dorr. And the wind knocks that one down. The sure-handed Broyles the fair catch at the 38-yard line. College football action continues tonight. Great lineup on ESPN2, South Carolina, Tennessee, and on ESPN at 8 o'clock. Be interested to see how Wisconsin bounces back from that heartbreaking loss last week at Michigan State, first loss of the year for the Badgers. Buckeyes had a bye week to prepare for this game, trying to avoid losing 4 games in the season for the first time since 2004. That's tonight, 8 Eastern on ESPN. Landry Jones, little swing pass out for Roy Finch. He's tackled at the 50-yard line. It'll be a first down on a 12-yard gain. You think the Badgers bounce back tonight on ESPN against Ohio State?
I believe that if you can throw the football, you can have a chance against Wisconsin, which Kirk Cousins proved last week.
But Ohio State can't throw the football.
They're going to have a tough time. But I will say this, Sean. Ohio State's defensive front seven, they're really pretty good. They get after you pretty good, and they're physical.
Whichever country you are, Switzerland or Sweden, do you want to take a stand on that one? Or?
I think that's a game Wisconsin wins. But, you know, to get back to what we were talking about with the offenses, and we've had an opportunity to see a lot of good quarterbacks, but the one that who stands head and shoulders above all.
Illegal substitution, number 94, defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Is Andrew Luck.
No doubt.
Yeah, we saw him a week ago, and he did things. I mean, you watch the tape of him, the more you watch, the more impressive he was.
I saw Todd McShay on ESPN this morning talking about Andrew Luck's going to get the highest grade he's ever given a player. And you can understand why. Hard to find the flaw in his game. Landry Jones throws, and a nice catch. Ryan Broyles. Tackled by Alan Chapman. 13th catch of the day for Broyles. That's 2 shy of his single game best. Of course, Landry Jones is a junior. He said he's going to wait to decide what he's going to do with an eye toward the NFL at the end of the season. But he looks to be a guy who'd be NFL ready if he decided to go.
Yeah, and if I were to give him some advice, I'd tell him to stay in. I really would, because there's some things in his game that he needs to work on. The least of which is pressure right up in his face. Double A gap blitzes give a lot of people problems. That's one of the things he needs to work on.
Tried to come after him with more rushers. His pass incomplete. Juan Miller could not hang on to it. It was interesting to hear Andrew Luck in the interview on Game Day this morning with Steve Young talk about how he sought out Peyton Manning because Peyton Manning had the same decision to make and ultimately went back to school as Andrew Luck did. A Landry Jones situation is also not complicated, but a factor is the fact he's engaged to a women's basketball player at Oklahoma, and she has another year back. So a lot of times where your heart is, that's where you stay.
Yeah, absolutely. And having said all that, Sean, certainly from a skill level, he's capable and he's ready.
Roy Finch rumbles into the end zone. Touchdown, Oklahoma. Just the 13th run from scrimmage for the Sooners today. Good for a 31-yard touchdown run by the sophomore Roy Finch.
So they spread you out, and then they come back inside with a nice little trap block inside, and that was Adam Shed with a big block, and then it's Finch to the second level in his speed.
Possessions, 3 touchdowns here in the third quarter for Oklahoma. Michael Honeycutt adds the extra point. First touchdown of the day for Finch. Second rushing touchdown of the season. All-State celebrating its 7th year sponsoring those Good Hands field goal nets. All-State makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds. For each field goal and extra point kick to date, All-State has contributed more than $2.5 million in scholarship monies.
Well, Oklahoma has straightened themselves out here in the second half, mostly on the strength of this offense. Now defensively, Sean, they stopped this Kansas State offense early, and then the Oklahoma offense put some points at their back, and it's just changed the complexion of this game completely.
A lot of people believed, I think you and I felt after the Fiesta Bowl that we called last year when they beat UConn, that Oklahoma had as talented a team coming back as any team in the country. They were in the discussion along with LSU and Alabama all season long as to who should be #1. That loss last week took them out of that conversation. Tyler Lockett runs it back. The kicker O'Hara slowed him down, and the tackle was made by Sam Proctor. To me, it is a team with national championship talent, Matt, but in this day and age of college football, you can't afford the one loss. Once you're at the mercy of the system and what happens to everybody else.
But you know, Sean, the thing that was perplexing was last week they just were flat. They were flat, and the Texas Tech now that
they played very well, and they're a good team.
And Doege, that kid, he was on fire. He didn't miss anything.
And Texas Tech threw for 452 yards last week at Oklahoma. They had the 3 starters out, all of whom returned this week. There was an hour-and-a-half rain delay. I don't know if that was a factor. If anything, the rain delay should favor the home team. You have the more comfortable facilities to wait in while you're sitting out the thunder and lightning. Sometimes you just show up a little flat. You also have to tip your cap to the other team. I mean, Texas Tech went in there with a couple of very tough losses, but they weren't far away from an undefeated record as they went to Norman.
They had a tough loss to this Kansas State team.
In a very rough third quarter for K-State. They've been outscored 21-0. Just 23-17 at the half. Klein throws. Good catch. Far sideline. Tremaine Thompson has it. And it's a first down. Here's Reese Davis after an 11-yard gain.
Sean, Florida and Georgia on this Sports Center right now, presented by Discover Card. It was a 4th and 6 for the Dogs. They've been fighting from behind all day. Aaron Murray to Tavares King. Tied it at 17, but Florida just answered with a field goal. They just took a 20-17 lead late in the third.
All right, Reese, and as we're looking at the highlights from Jacksonville, Klein threw an incomplete pass in the direction of Tremaine Thompson. 2nd and 10 for Kansas State. A minute to go, third quarter. Wildcats at their own 42. Klein had a lot of time but couldn't find anybody. Hit as he threw it over the head of Tremaine Thompson. 3rd and 10. You like Frank Alexander. Watching the film, he is
I do.
a guy with pass rush ability.
Yeah, there's a few guys on this defense that jump out at you. I think Rennell Lewis has had himself a real good game here, but Frank Alexander probably is the best pass rusher on this front. He's been consistent all year long. And then they do have good defensive team speed. And that second level, that group can run. Wirt can run. Lewis can run. and Jefferson can run.
Here comes a blitz and another sack. Jefferson came on a blitz. Alexander nearby. Tom Wart, the middle linebacker, was blitzing, and it's the 4th sack of the day for the Sooners.
And you're able to do that, Sean, because you can go man-to-man outside. And this time here, they just lock up. There's no place to throw. And then Klein looks down the field, and all you see is coverage, no one open. Jefferson comes down with a sack.
4th punt of the quarter for Ryan Dorr. Huge splits. Kansas State when they punt along that offensive line. Royals, another fair catch. Well, many were wondering how good was K-State. They came in with a 7-0 record, but this was the start of a very tough schedule, about as tough a stretch of schedule as any team in the country will face. 4 games in a row. Oklahoma today, then they're in Stillwater next week. They have A&M here on November 12th, and then at Texas to conclude the regular season. They're going to suffer their first loss of the year here unless there is a dramatic turnaround in the 4th quarter. And give them their credit. I mean, it wasn't like the 7-0 was against a steady stream of cupcakes. Landry Jones is deep, and it is caught by Stills. Bobbled it, but held on to it. And he's all the way to the 13-yard line of K-State on the final play of a 3rd quarter, dominated by Oklahoma. 54-yard gain.
I'll throw it, you go get it. Stills obliges. Big first down.
Welcome back to ESPN's College Football presented by Cars.com. Oklahoma leading K-State 44-17 as we continue Dr. Pepper's road to the championships. It's a tight game at the half. Oklahoma led 23-17. The Sooners had 242 yards of offense in the 3rd quarter. 191 of it passing yards from Landry Jones, who's now thrown for a school record 481. With a quarter to go. Breaks his own school record of 468. Finch tripped up immediately by Arthur Brown. Both Landry Jones and Sam Bradford had thrown for 468 in the game. Landry last year against K-State. Sam Bradford did it against Kansas and against Oklahoma State rather last year. And Sam Bradford did it against Kansas in 2008. A new mark, 481 and counting for Landry Jones. Will be the first player ever to throw for 500 in a game at Oklahoma. Jones to the end zone, and it is caught by Trent Rattery, a tight end. Touchdown, Oklahoma. 5th touchdown pass of the game for Landry Jones.
Now they've been able to do this all day long. Just get things spread out, and then it's just because there's no pressure. It's like 7-on-7. At practice, you just pick the open guy and throw it to him.
2nd week in a row, Jones has thrown 5 touchdown passes, threw 5 in the loss to Texas Tech last week. First touchdown catch of the season for the senior Rattery. And the extra point good by Michael Honeycutt. 67 yards in 3 plays. It took only 48 seconds, and the route is on in Manhattan. Trent Rattery, the most recent touchdown. Oklahoma in this half, 4 possessions, 4 touchdowns. For the game, they've scored 7 touchdowns, all of them on drives of 60 yards or longer, and none of them have lasted 3 minutes.
Well, we're not going to see Landry Jones anymore, it appears. Almost hanging 500 yards. 493 passing yards.
Michael Honeycutt will kick off this time. Into Wayne Thompson handled a short kick. And got blasted by Trey Millard at the 36. Here's Reese Davis.
So it's been an inspirational day for Rutgers. Eric LeGrand led the Scarlet Knights out onto the field. They have a 31-21 lead on West Virginia when Geno Smith finds his old buddies Nice little catch by Stedman Bailey in the end zone. The high school teammate of Geno Smith. 31-28 late in the third.
Big game there in the Big East. Of course, West Virginia, the news of the week in realignment talk on its way to the Big 12. This conference. Colin Klein running for his life, chased out of bounds with a 2-yard loss. Run out by Tom Wart. Certainly it's made a big difference for that Oklahoma defense today to have Wart and Jamel Fleming back, Casey Walker on that defensive line. None of the threesome played last week.
Yeah, and then I think, Sean, the best thing that happened to this defense was get points at their back right at the half. Right after that, it would just change the defense completely. Because they did not tackle well in the first half whatsoever.
Officially a sack, their 5th. They rush 5. They can smell the blood, and they're out for it. They take him down again. That'll be another sack. Aaron Colvin and Corey Nelson. They came in averaging just under 4 sacks per game, second in the country, only Texas A&M ahead of them. They might have the national lead all by themselves when this game is over. 3 sacks on the last 3 snaps for Brent Venables' defense. Here they come again, and that's a coverage sack to bust out the cliche. David King got there. Klein had plenty of time to throw it somewhere, but David King took him down. 4 sacks and 4 snaps.
Well, this is where they're good. I mean, they can get after you. And again, most of the time, Sean, getting after you with just 4 people.
There's Ryan Dorr, become the busiest man in Manhattan here in the second half. Happy to finally be punting with the win. Ryan Broyles didn't get very far. Well covered by the Cats. 12.5 to go. Oklahoma on its way to an impressive victory against the 8th-ranked team in the country.
ESPN's College Football is presented by Cars.com, where confidence comes standard. And in part by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun.
And bowling.
Yeah, these are some of the folks responsible for bringing you the sights and sounds. Today's game, members of our crew took part in our annual Halloween bowling event last night at the Kansas State Student Union. We would have showed you a strike if anybody had rolled one. A scary bunch on Halloween and the rest of the 364 days. They tell us Chris Swihart, Brandon Williams-Berry for a loss. Our great operations people, along with Wayne Nelson and Kelly Perry, do a great job leading our technical crew. They say Swihart was the best bowler with like a 46.
There's Tom.
Still dressed as a pumpkin. He's a good golfer. Now, we had a golf tournament.
He'd smoke
everybody. But Swihart's result was invalidated by the fact he was not in costume. He came to rest as Chris Swihart, and Chris is the only one who considers Chris Swihart a celebrity or somebody you dress up after and consider it a costume.
There's your 500 yards.
Maybe that's why he's still in the game. And he's a Heisman Trophy candidate as well. This will certainly help him. A lot of it's just about posting numbers. I'm a little bit surprised, though, that
I don't know why he's
this
in there.
lead, that he's still out there. You don't want to run an injury. And also there's that personal relationship that Heather's talked about. Bob Stoops, many years an assistant with Bill Snyder here at K-State. I don't think we're quite yet at the running up the score portion of the telecast, but certainly it's something Stoops wouldn't want to do. The next catch for Broyles will be his 15th, which will match his career high. Hey, Millard, the fullback, touched the ball much more often than any fullback in the Stoops here, and that's why. Wow, what a run. Touchdown. 61 yards.
And Sean, did you see Ryan Broyles at the end of that? He wanted Millard to get in just as much as the running back himself. just does a nice job. On the other side, you're going to see him pick up the block. And he is going to see him eyeballing him. He picks out the fastest one who can get there, and he makes his choice. I guess he didn't do as much as it looked like initially, but he did force him to go around. 60-yard touchdown.
Wow. And a 250-pound fullback, sophomore from Columbia, Missouri. His mom, Joy's on the faculty. Extra point is good by Honeycutt. 5 possessions in the second half. 5 touchdowns for Oklahoma. 58-17 Sooners. Sean McDonough, Matt Millen, Heather Cox watching just about offensive perfection from Oklahoma here in the second half. 5 possessions, 5 touchdowns, all of them at least 62 yards. And they don't need much time or many plays to get the job done. So Bob Stoops with the magic after a loss. They haven't lost 2 straight in the same season since 2003. That was against Kansas, only 2007. He gets his team to bounce back even after an excruciating loss like last week. Tyler Lockett runs back across the 35. Here's Heather.
Sean, I was able to spend some time yesterday with Dr. Kirk Schultz, who's the president of Kansas State, as well as the chair of the Big 12 Expansion Committee. Very timely topics with the addition of West Virginia into the Big 12. I asked him about the concerns with the geography. Certainly, he said it's something the president talked quite a bit about. He was worried about the travel time for student athletes into Morgantown. He said it's not as much of an issue for football teams because they charter, but certainly concerned about Olympic sports. I also talked to him about the continued Big 12 expansion, and he said, I feel very good about a 10-team Big 12. That means the addition of TCU and the departure of Missouri. When I asked him about Missouri, he said, I can't comment. They have to make a statement. We've been waiting for weeks. We just need them to get it done, Sean.
What was interesting, Heather, is Hubert carried back to the line of scrimmage, and that was it. They put out a press release announcing West Virginia coming to the Big 12. The conference did. They said next year we envision playing with 10 teams. They listed 10 and included West Virginia and did not include Missouri, even though they're still in the conference. Well, this whole three-lineman thing is a headache. Tannehill makes the catch near a first down. It will be a fun trip, Morgantown to Manhattan. Good luck.
Manhattan, New York. Yeah, I agree.
That's going to be very difficult travel. And it looks like the Big 12 is stabilized, and I think that's a great thing. I mean, a couple teams have left. They've added TCU. Now they add West Virginia. But this is such a great football conference. I mean, the SEC's clearly been the best the last several years, winning the national championship every year. But you can make the argument the Big 12's been right there with them, right behind them in the argument for the next best, certainly at the top of that argument.
Yeah, you know, Sean, the whole thing really is fear-driven. All conferences, because everybody's afraid to be left out. That's the big deal. And so they're going to have to get it straightened out, because this is just going to continue to be playing musical chairs from conference to conference, which I don't like.
Nope. Loyalty to each other has gone out the window. Klein's pass deflected and falls incomplete. You know, Lou Holtz had a great commentary a couple of weeks ago on the Thursday night, one of his Dr. Lou segments, about how in the old days conferences were aligned by geography, largely schools that were near each other that had similar missions, similar sizes. A lot of state universities banded together in the same conference. Now there's no rhyme or reason to where any of these people are going except one thing: money. Yeah. Where can we go where we're going to get the most money? And some of it, as you say, is stability.
Sure.
They're all panicking, thinking our league is about to disintegrate. Let's go somewhere else that's more stable. But largely it's about money. What a great lesson for people who are supposed to be educating college-age students about what's important going forward. Well, follow the money and you figured out most of this stupid realignment process.
And you know, we knew, and anybody involved in it, you knew that was there regardless. But it's become so blatantly obvious, and the money has gotten so big, Sean. And again, you can't be left out. You can't be at the bottom of the line, or you're just gonna end up Look, all this stuff costs cash. All the recruiting, the travel, the facilities, all that stuff. And if you're not going to get the payout, you're going to be left behind.
I mean, Thompson couldn't hang on. It'll be 4th down and 9, and K-State will punt. And you're right. Teams look at it as our league might crumble. And certainly the Big 12, there are a lot of rumors the last few years it may not stay together. Now it looks like they will. The Big East has been dealing with it. Syracuse and Pittsburgh, my alma mater, Syracuse, a part of it. You can understand, well, the Big East might fall apart. We need to get to a good landing spot before everybody else is in line to go there.
Exactly right.
But in doing that, you've annihilated the programs of all these other schools that have been your partners for 30 years.
And not just on the football scene, across the board.
Every sport.
Right.
How many athletes and coaches and other people in these athletic departments get impacted because you don't want to hang around and hope that you can work together to make your league work. After finishing a disappointing 26th last week in Talladega, Jimmy Johnson now in 7th place in the chase. Just 4 games left. He's running out of time. Really needs a win tomorrow at Martinsville. The chase continues for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. 1 Eastern time. Tight race. On ESPN, Carl Edwards #1, Matt Kenseth 2, Brad Keselowski 3. Drew Allen, the backup quarterback, is in the game now for Oklahoma. Antonio. Landry Jones with a school record 505 passing yards today. 35 out of 47 for 505 and 5 touchdowns. He threw 2 interceptions. They have 643 yards of total offense. Still a long way to go to the school record in that category. It's 875. Williams.
Sean, if you watch where Landry Jones, or look where Landry Jones threw the ball today, most of it, the damage was in the middle of the field. He threw outside a couple times, but through the middle of the field, 217 yards of his 500. Wasn't afraid to throw it deep either. He threw a couple down there, but he was well protected. It was like 7-on-7 at times today. Kansas State was not able to generate a rush.
Hard to believe there was a 17-14 K-State lead at one point. Just a 6-point Oklahoma lead at the half. Williams again. Near a first down at the 33-yard line. Now it looks like it'll be a steady dose of the running game for Oklahoma.
And using all the clock. And, you know, just thinking back to the very first play of offense, and that man right there, Dominique Whaley, he will be missed because he's a talented guy.
They have other nice backs, but he's obviously the best back. That's why he was the featured back, their leading rusher. And it's an impressive win, particularly without him. An impressive bounce back. We mentioned at the top of the telecast, Matt, the road to the BCS National Championship game is long and winding, and they're going to need an awful lot of help. But this is a great first step to get back into that conversation. I mean, they dropped only to 9th after that loss to Texas Tech last week. So here is a very impressive win on the road against the #8 team in the country. That'll get you a lot of points.
Yeah, and LSU and Alabama, they'll cancel each other next week. Oklahoma State, they've been putting tons of points up on the board. Oklahoma will have their chance at Oklahoma State at the end of the year.
If Oklahoma State wins out, they're going to play for the national championship. But they have some tough games left. BCS standings are brought to you by Tostitos. Here's Camille Jackson with his first catch of the day. True freshman from Arlington, Texas.
And Sean, that Alabama LSU game, that is going to be a humdinger. Both those teams play as good a defense as you're going to see in all of football. And they're deep in the secondary. They're deep in their front 7. LSU really has 2 lines they come through, and they just bring one line after another, and so they're always fresh. But I think the difference in this game is going to be Trent Richardson. I think that Alabama offensive line and Trent Richardson is a good physical group. It's going to be fun to watch.
So you said your status as Sweden which apparently is a neutral country. And you're going out on the limb on that one with Alabama.
That's not much of a limb. I mean, it's just going to be a great football game. And it's one of those things what college football is all about.
Williams another carry. Blake Bell has now come in at quarterback. He scored a touchdown goal line situation earlier. Under 5 minutes to go. Oklahoma on its way to 7-1, and K-State will be 7-1. Bell carries first down. And what did we learn about Kansas State today? I mean, they were 7-0 coming in, but 5 of the 7 wins were by a touchdown or less. They had more wins by 7 points or less than any other team in the country. But that's to be expected, Matt. Don't you think? The way they play, there's not much margin for error.
No, there really isn't. You can't beat yourself. And for the first half, they were able to generate enough offense. But defensively, they can't rush the passer, and they don't have the athletic skill in the secondary to be able to match up with a team like Oklahoma that has more skill. You're going to take Stills and Broyles. And those are tough guys to handle.
They're doing a nice job winning the close games against teams like Baylor and Missouri, Texas Tech. We said it wasn't like the 7-0 was against a bunch of cupcakes.
Right.
But they were outgained in 4 of their 7 wins, and they'd be badly outgained here today. And then it keeps remaining difficult when you look at what they have left at Oklahoma State next week. They better shore up the pass defense before that one.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
A&M comes here, a talented team having a disappointing year at Texas and Iowa State.
This team, whoever plays them, if they get points at their back, it's tough.
Blake Bell back in. He and Allen sharing the duties now. Bell runs for the first down to the 35-yard line.
Because defensively, I mean, offensively, they're not going to win a lot of games just by purely throwing the football. This is a running team first. And so when they're down, or when they're on the downside of points, they've got to be able to throw, and that's difficult for them.
I think they have a good team. They've demonstrated that. It's just not a national championship contender team. Now it's 1 loss, so I mean, K-State is very much in the conference race, but they have a tough schedule left, and clearly, at the very least, Oklahoma's a more talented team. Oklahoma State's a more talented team.
Right. And
I think Bill Snyder still deserves consideration for National Coach of the Year, at least at this point in the season.
He's done a phenomenal job here. He really has. And they believe what he's selling. And what he's selling works. It worked in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, all the way through. And it'll work 50 years from now because it's built off of discipline, and it's built off of you taking responsibility for what you have to do, putting the time in, working hard at it. All those things work.
Fascinating to visit with him in his office yesterday. Such an intelligent man. Brandon Williams, the ball carrier, got taken down by Adam Davis. And it was clear to me the favorite part of our conversation for Bill Snyder was when he started talking about his family. He went through all 5 of his children, what they do, where they are, what they've accomplished. Talked about his 8 grandchildren. He has a great-grandson. And that's when he was fully engaged in the conversation.
Well, you know, with him, it's all about people. He's very relational, and he views his football team as an extended family. And so he treats them that way. He expects them to react that way, and it works for him.
Pass incomplete from Drew Allen over the head of Camille Jackson. Well, there's more great college football action to come tonight on ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC. Keep that remote right in your hand. Go back and forth between that great menu. Clemson and Georgia Tech's been the wild series, one of the most competitive in the ACC over the last couple of decades. 12 of the last 16 games rather decided by 5 points or less. Of course, Clemson trying to go to 9-0. For the first time since they went 12-0 back in their national championship season of '81. That game's tonight at 8 Eastern on ABC or ESPN3.
With that Watkins, the freshman, he is really exciting. Great speed, big playability. He's just been tearing it up.
Everything going Bob Stoops' way, and that punt took a nice bounce off the foot of Tress Way. Being down to the 14-yard line. So we mentioned that loss really put them in a difficult spot with an eye toward the national championship. They can work their way back, but they're going to need to win all of those. And if they do win all of those, they'll be the Big 12 champion, and they'll play in the BCS Bowl. But Bob Stoops was talking months ago about it's time for them to win a national championship again, and the likelihood of that is still slim, even with this result. Samuel Lemur is in. Backup quarterback, the twin brother of their starting linebacker, Emmanuel. Angelo Peace, the backup running back. And again, you have to feel for Dominique Whaley, walk on a year and a half ago, working in the subway across from their football practice facilities. The walk on, paying his way through college, has emerged as one of the great stories in college football this year, and now it appears this season is over. Here's Pease again. Driven back. Number of substitutes into the ball game now on defense for Oklahoma, including Geno Grissom, who led that defensive surge.
Back to the drawing board.
The first loss of the year for K-State.
Yep. Back to the drawing board, and they know what they have to do. They can't beat themselves. They're going to have to be able to run the ball effectively, and they've got to shore up that defense before they get to that Oklahoma State game next week, because Whedon will be throwing the ball all over the place.
Bob Stoops, as is the way under Stoops at Oklahoma, they just don't have losing streaks. Very impressive performance after the major disappointment of last Saturday night. 690 yards of offense. Longtime friends wish each other well. Landry Jones, a school record 505 yards and 5 touchdowns. Oklahoma scored on its first 5 possessions of the second half and pulled away after trailing in the first half. Here's Heather.
Sean, thanks so much, Coach. Congratulations on the win. After the momentum was back and forth in the first half, an entirely different story in the second half. How did you guys crank it up a notch in the second half?
Well, we tackled a little better. I said that at halftime. And then we got out of position a few times in the first half that resulted in, which they will, big plays. We were more sound in the second half. The wind really helped us. We had them backed up into the wind, and the offense kept scoring.
After last week's loss, how much was today about pride for you?
Well, you know what? There's still a bunch of games left, so hopefully our guys aren't satisfied with having some pride in one game. We've got a whole bunch of games coming that we've got to hopefully play the same way.
And your quarterback, Landry Jones, with a school record 505 total yards. What was the key to his success?
Well, he just throws a great ball. But you know what? The offensive line was great protecting all night. Receivers made some great catches and got open. And in fact, one of the interceptions, the receiver didn't help him very much. So, you know, the other guys around him played more precise.
Coach Stoops, thanks. Congrats on the win.
And not to be lost in all of that, the Kansas State offense shut down by Stoops' defense in the second half. K-State had 32 yards of offense in the second half. The Sooners had 7 sacks. Final score, Oklahoma 58, Kansas State 17. Coming up next on ESPN. Stay tuned for College Football Scoreboard. Now for Matt Millen, Heather Cox, and our entire crew led ably by producer Bo Garrett and director Mike Roy. Sean McDonough saying so long from Manhattan, Kansas.